Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are eastbound, where we get to spend a couple days at home in Dayton, Tennessee, which is something I'm really excited about. Katie and I really try to, cycle each other out from time to time, at least once a month, for like 1 or 2 days where we get to spend some time at home, hang out with Doppler, see some friends, and also just take care of the property. Like today, I woke up at 3:45 to leave Memphis to get home early before the rain starts, so I could do a little bit of mowing. Unfortunately, this whole trip, it looks like it's just going to be all rain, but at least I could get some mowing done and keep the property at least somewhat groomed. But anyways, that's one thing that we find is really important. This will be my third trip since we moved to Memphis to get Katie or Riley treated at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. This is the third time I've actually got to go home. I think it's the third time, and maybe the fourth. I think it's actually the third. But these moments are really special. But one of the things that I get a lot of questions about from people is like what the day-to-day looks like living at St. Jude. A lot of people think that we get to go home in between, Riley's chemo, and that's not the case at all. Like, we have to stay in Memphis 95% of the time. Again, one of us, Riley has to stay in Memphis 100% of the time because she cannot be away from St. Jude at all, because her immune system is just so affected by the chemo treatments. We have to constantly on Tuesdays and Thursdays constantly have labs drawn and reviewed and all that stuff. So we don't have a choice. One of us has to stay with Riley in Memphis to be near St. Jude, which is fine. It just means that we can't spend time together at our own property, but that's just a sacrifice we have to make in the short term. But anyways, I have a lot of people ask, a lot of friends that maybe, I don't talk to as much. They ask, if I'm home, when I'm going to be home next, and that sort of thing. And it's like, I rarely get to go home. But we have really found a good, schedule for our family in Memphis, and St. Jude has really provided us with the opportunity to create a really good, livable scenario while we're getting Riley treated. And so I wanted to kind of give you a glimpse into the life of a family living at St. Jude. So as you guys know, my daughter has neuroblastoma cancer. She got diagnosed in January. We've been living at St. Jude since February 4th. And when we first moved to Memphis, when we first got to Memphis, really didn't know what I was up against. Didn't know a whole lot about St. Jude. Had heard at that point, within a day or two before going there, that we wouldn't be ever given a bill, but I had no idea that also meant housing, because as I was driving to Memphis, I'm like looking for hotels for the short term, and also like looking at different apartment opportunities for the longer term. And when we got there, we quickly found out that all that is taken care of as part of the St. Jude promise. St. Jude promises that families will have a place to stay, that they're going to get the best treatment, and that they'll never receive a bill, and they also get food as well. And so when we got there, we got placed in their short-term housing facility, which is called Tri-Delta Place, which is actually right next to the hospital, and it's kind of like a hotel type scenario. It's not like full apartment, but it's kind of like a blend between an apartment with a very limited kind of kitchen area, like a microwave and a mini fridge, that sort of thing, and a separated room, which was nice. So Katie and I could stay up, watch some TV, and Riley could sleep. So we were placed in Tri-Delta for like 3 weeks. Felt like a long time, lots of takeout. I gained about 15 pounds, and I'm now trying to work it off. But we lived there, and when we first got to Memphis, it was like all hands on deck. Every single day of the week, we were in the hospital, and sometimes on weekends. And one of the interesting things about St. Jude is like, it doesn't feel like a normal hospital, because when you go there on the weekends, it's like dead. There's hardly anybody there, because, you know, they cram pack everybody's schedule into the weekdays, and really the only people that are there on the weekends are, you know, just people that are you know, in for some type of treatment, or, you know, maybe a kid's not doing well, they need platelets or a blood transfusion or something like that. But for the most part, everything is during the weekdays. So when we first got there, it was like every single day of the week we were going over to the hospital. We would have up to like 8 different appointments that we'd have to make, you know, every single day, which sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. But when all of your appointments are within, you know, 100 yards of each other, you know, it makes it a whole lot easier. In a lot of cases, Riley was sick when we first got to St. Jude. She had a cold, and so we were kind of in restrictive isolation at that point. So all of our appointments, we would check in, go to our first appointment, and every single appointment afterwards would come to that room, so we're not spreading a cold to immunocompromised kids all around the hospital. So that was one of the really neat things about St. Jude, is that they really, you know, created an environment where it's very easy to make all of these appointments as part of this rigorous treatment, you know, schedule. So when we first got there, just trying to get a baseline for Riley, it was like every single day. And then once we got, you know, part of, or we figured out what clinical trial Riley needed to be in, the doctors kind of got all the imaging and everything that they needed to understand what's going on with her cancer. That's when things started to get a little bit more regular as far as the scheduling. So nowadays we go in on Mondays and Thursdays. Those are our set days where we go in and get labs drawn, and then we get a consultation as far as labs. And in fact, nowadays, we don't even have to go to the hospital to get the labs drawn. We have somebody at our housing unit, which we'll talk about in a minute, come over, and the nurse will come in and you know, draw the labs, and then we'll review them at the hospital later with our doctor and nurse team. So Mondays and Thursdays are kind of our set days, and even if we get like something pop up on the schedule for like a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Friday or something like that, we'll try to see if we can get those rescheduled for the days that we're already going to be at the hospital. So really, it's for the most part, except for, you know, when Riley is you know, getting her actual treatments, her chemo, which you know, we just got done yesterday with her final day of chemo for her 5th cycle. You know, other than those chemo days, Mondays and Thursdays are kind of you know, the days we know we're going to be at the hospital, and otherwise, you know, we actually have some time to find some kind of semblance of normalcy in all of this. You know, we've kind of come up with, and when I say we, I'm talking about Katie and I, we've come up with a system where I get to go out once or twice a week on the water to go fish and create YouTube videos and the content that you guys are seeing and watching, and that continues to help me, you know, provide value for my sponsors and continue to, you know, see some progress while we're going through this. And then I have one editing day, set editing day, because when we first started doing this, it was frustrating for both of us that I would go out there, film all this stuff, and then try to just fit in the editing, you know, here and there throughout the week. Just felt like I was constantly just trying to do that. So we agreed that on top of the 1 or 2 days on the water, I would get 1 day for office stuff. I could do it. I could edit, post those videos, and also do whatever else I wanted on that office day. And then we really try to make sure that Katie gets the same type of schedule where she gets 2 or 3 days off a week. And then we spend as much time together as possible in between. So I feel like we've got a good schedule. It's always mixed up a little bit. We've had a lot of friends and family come in, and usually when friends and family come in, one of the things that's really important during this whole process is not putting Riley in a situation where she's around a lot of people, because she's like everybody at St. Jude. She's immunocompromised. The chemo really just kills her immune system, and so we can't like go out to eat with her, or go to too many crowded places. Really, one of the only places we go is the Memphis Pyramid, the Bass Pro Shops, because it's generally not like super packed. If it is, we just leave. It's not super packed. We can skip to the front of the line to go up the elevator up to the top and just take our friends to see the city of Memphis and the Mississippi River and that sort of thing. So that's kind of like one of our regular things that we do, because we can't just go to the mall, or we can't take Riley again to dinner or anything like that. We can't go to Beale Street. Obviously, you don't want to take a baby to Beale Street anyways. But yeah, we're very limited as to what we can do. We've kind of become little shut-ins, where we stay at the apartment a lot and just try to stay away from people so Riley doesn't get sick. Which actually brings me to another big part of being at St. Jude. So St. Jude provides housing. They've got several different options for long and short-term housing. Of course, we talked about Tri-Delta. That's where we stayed for the first 3 weeks. And there's also a place that is connected to Tri-Delta, and both of these are right next to the hospital. The other one is called Domino's Village. That's a new facility that is kind of a blend of long-term and short-term housing. That one it seems really nice. Then there's Ronald McDonald House, which is another one. That one's primarily long-term housing. That one's been around quite a while. And then you have Target House. Target House is where we're staying. It's comprised of 2 different buildings, apartment complexes, Target House 1 and Target House 2. Very nice place. Each apartment has 2 different rooms, full kitchen, everything that you could possibly need. It's not our home. It's not our house. It's not, where we necessarily want to be, but for the situation that we're in, it's a phenomenal little place to live. And there's also a little courtyard in between the two that gives the opportunity for the kids to play and for families to hang out and grill. There's some grills there, so they do everything in their power to make it a home for you while you're there. So that's pretty much it, man. We are really given an opportunity through St. Jude to, settle into a good groove. And I feel like Katie and I have done a really good job of communicating our wants and needs. Obviously, it's not something where I can just be out and doing things business as usual. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of content on YouTube and trying to keep up with things, but really it's all about, doing it in 1 or 2 days. I don't really get a lot of like fun fishing days, which is fine. It's with a purpose always to just go out there and create content. But the rest of the time, it's like super important that we just get to spend a lot of time together, because one of the biggest things that we can do as a family is to focus on Riley's care and just how keeping her happy, and keeping her safe from catching like a cold or a flu or something like that. That's really what our job is as parents here, is advocating for her, making sure that she's not, around any type of of diseases or anything that could get her sick, and also just keeping her happy. We really think that happiness is going to be one of the best medicines that we can prescribe for our daughter during this process. So we just try to spend as much time as possible together, which I think is a really big deal, and it's been a huge blessing, honestly. It's been a big exercise in perspective since I've lived at St. Jude. So anyways, guys, that is what our day-to-day looks like at St. Jude. It's a constant thing where we constantly have to have Riley there, and we're usually there, but we have some flexibility, and we're very thankful for the ability to have flexibility. So anyways, if you guys are looking for a worthy cause, if there ever was one, to donate money to, look no further. St. Jude is truly special, and I know firsthand where that money is going, where those donations go to. It goes to families like ours, and to children like my little Riley. So anyways, guys, hopefully this kind of shed some light on a place that is just, you know, performing miracles every day. And I hope that you have a wonderful day, and just remember, enjoy your family first and foremost. You'll never regret that when you get older. That's one thing I've learned. So thank you guys so much. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and always, always trust the process. Take care.